And the reason I believe Betty was back in the 60s, a white woman didn't marry a black man, and a black man didn't marry a white woman. If they would put themselves under that scrutiny, then they had to be telling the truth. So, and that was my way of thinking. It might not have been right, but that was just the way that I thought. And I wanted to meet her and see what had happened. So he was going to meet Betty on a TV talk show. And when we got there, I got to meet her, and we got to talking. I went back to her home. I spent 3 or 4 days with Miss Hill. And that did me more good than anything to get to meet and talk to her. She's dead serious, and I believe her.
Well, do you want to tell the audience a little bit about what happened to her and a little bit of stuff she told you?
Yeah, her and her husband was coming back home. And apparently they got abducted, but they didn't remember anything. So later on, they knew something was bad, and they got hypnotized, and it brought all of it out. And just like I was, my memory come back. And apparently they gave her a star map and everything. I never really got into it. I just knew she was abducted with her. But when I went up there to spend time, she was trying to tell me the story, but she wanted to hear mine, too. And we would go up on a mountain and look. She said, they come to visit me regularly. Now, I didn't believe that, but I'd go up on this mountain with her, and we'd look, and I've never seen them come down again. I was scared they would. Maybe I'm the one that wished them off. But it did good just to talk to her and hear her experience. Of course, later on, her husband died way before she did. But Betty was a great woman. She, real good person to talk to.
Oh, wow. It probably gave you some comfort there, too, didn't it?
It did. Just being around somebody else that had been abducted. And like I say, she was in a mixed marriage, and knowing what all she went through to get to where she was. So she definitely didn't want no media attention on them.
And boy, did they got a lot of attention.
They did get some attention, and a lot of their attention wasn't as good as mine. Because they took the road to talk about it and all, like Charlie did. You know, Charlie took that opposite road than what I did. He went to all these conferences and wanted to talk about it and everything. He did talk about it. Wrote a book. You know, I've yet to read that book he wrote. I don't know if it's any good or not, but Philip sent me a copy of it. I've actually never been invited to a conference that got paid to go to one. So I went to one in Arizona out of curiosity after I got had that missing time, and I wanted to get out there and hear some of their stories. I didn't tell nobody who I was. It was cold. I just wrapped up in a jacket and went out and listened to some of the speakers there. But I'm going to do my first conference coming up at the end of the month, that mega conference in Laughlin. And it's got several books going on from there.
Okay, well, give everybody the date and where and all that stuff where they can go to the conference.
It's in Laughlin, Nevada. I forget the name of the motel, but it's March the 27th. I'll be there. And I'll leave out March the 29th. And I'm just going to go and, because I was invited, tell my story and get to meet a lot of people that I've been on this journey now going through. And then after that one, I'm going to Engelberg, Texas, to that conference. I forget the date. And then we're going to the Ozark Mountains. And then I'm coming to the UK in August. So I get to go meet Philip and all of them. That's the main reason I want to go out there. There have been some lovely people in the UK that I have talked to, and I just want to go out and meet them. I could care less about speaking, but, you know, that was my trip out there to speak at the conference, so I could meet them.
Well, one thing really interesting, Calvin, my show, it for some reason in the UK is very, very popular. Like 43% of my listenership worldwide, it comes from the UK. And maybe it's because they have a long, rich history and a lot of weird time frames and paranormal things. But I'll tell you, I got a huge listenership out of the UK.
Hey, I love the people. They have been nothing but great to me. When we first did the book, the first big TV station that picked it up was from the UK, and they invited me on. I think this is a popular subject over there. But they just make me feel like I'm at home over there with them. And I'm really looking forward to going and spending some time with them.
Oh, yeah. You're going to enjoy it.
I have that did the book for me and wrote the forward and helped me with the book. He is the greatest person. He is a hustler now. I've never seen nobody hustle like he does. He has a lot going on.
Wow. Yeah, the book, I haven't read it. I plan to get a copy and read it because I've talked to people who read it. They said it is a must read. So you know what? You came out at the right time with the book because, it's funny. I've been in broadcasting off and on since 1976. And, UFOs, just like ghost hunting and Bigfoot and all this stuff, it goes for so long and then it kind of fades out. And then another object comes on, like ghost hunting, and then that drops out. It seemed like about a year ago that the UFO thing popped back on the radar major, this time more major than I've ever seen it. And it's a shame that my friend Art Bell passed on because I guarantee you he would be so excited right now to know how the UFO community is going. And hopefully we might even get some disclosure coming up here shortly, I hope. But, all these things like the government, the president creating a space force, it just makes me, though, kind of wonder. I don't know about you, Calvin. I just kind of wonder if something evil is going on with these aliens. It's who knows how many different species of aliens are visiting Earth, but maybe there's one out there that isn't so friendly towards humans.
Well, I've got it figured out. Well, they're kind of like humans. You got good humans, you got bad humans, and you have different races. Look how many different species of humans it is on this Earth. Some of them's good, some of them's just pure evil. And I feel like with the aliens out there, it's the same way with them.
Oh yeah, we could have another Hitler out there in the alien form, where they want to just take over territory.
Well, for some reason they building a space force. Now, it might be against other countries or something. I don't know that, and nobody will probably never know the real reason. But they know more than what they're telling us. I feel like, with the technology we have today, they know they're out there, and I feel like we kind of get ready for them just in case that they're a major threat.
Well, that is a possibility because, this has been going on for a long period of time. Going even back to Roswell, saying at first it was a, UFO, then reversing the story in the early morning by saying, no, it was a weather balloon. But, looking at pictures of the site where that UFO or weather balloon crashed, it would have had to take out a lot of trees in a terrain which I don't think a weather balloon would have been capable of doing. So I got a funny feeling something big hit and slid a long distance and took out a lot of trees. It landed, and rested against those boulders. So I think, there's so many different things of people being abducted, like I mentioned, Timothy Collin, which had an implant removed. I don't think he went somewhere and had an implant put in him himself. I think he was abducted. And what scares me, Calvin, I got a funny feeling there's a lot of people that have been abducted and don't even realize it.
I feel like they have, and experimented on and probably don't realize it. Now, I talked to Jesse Marcel on his deathbed. Colonel Marcel, the one that flew all that stuff out of Roswell and all.
Oh, yes.
He called me. I was in Houma, Louisiana. He sent a friend of his over to get me when he heard I was there. Now, how he knew I was there, I have no idea. But she come and got me and took me to his house. And he was on his deathbed, more or less, right then. And he told me that that was absolutely true, what had happened in Roswell. And a man ain't gonna lie on his deathbed. I don't believe.
Well, how many people would lie on their deathbed? They have nothing to gain, you know. So most people, when they're on their deathbed, they try to tell anything they ever did bad. They want to clean it off their conscience for they can go to heaven.
Right, and that's the way I would be if I was on my deathbed right now. You know, I'd try to clear up anything I could clear up. Now, although this did happen to me, I'm like Colonel Marcel, you know, this happened. I don't know what it was, who it was, where they came from, but something happened.
Yeah. And I'm just wondering how long. Now, I got to go all the way back to the night you were on that pier. Do you have any idea how long you were gone? Do you know roughly the time that you saw that the bright light and the reflection to the time that you were returned?
Well, I've been asked that a lot, and the way I explained some of that, we didn't wear watches because we worked in a shipyard around metal and with hammers all the time, and it would stop a watch. But I'm estimating, and that's all this is, probably 45 minutes inside the craft. But it was a lot longer out there, but it was probably 45 minutes on the inside of the craft, and that's strictly an estimation.
Now, when they got you onto the craft, too, did they, like, drag you onto it, or did you float, or how did they get you onto it? Do you remember? Or did they kind of hypnotize you in some type of state?
When they grabbed hold of my arm, and I've often wondered why my arm didn't broke, but we was levitated up, and we just floated over the top of the marsh grass into the craft. And there wasn't no pain in the arm or anything. You'd figured it broke the arm or something, but, you know, somehow they levitated somehow.
So you had no bruising or anything the next day or anything on your shoulder or arm or anything?
Well, the only thing I had was puncture wounds, and that's where they had to give what I feel like was the injections to calm us down. Had two of them. You know, I felt one when they first abducted us, and when I come to in the crowd, and that big ugly creature come over and got me by the arm, I felt another one. And I feel like they know that if they hadn't sedated us, you know, it could have been a problem. Because if I got to my car, it would have been a bigger problem for them.
Yeah. Now, also, lately, there's witnesses that are starting to come out, since your book has come out, saying that they saw some strange things on that river.
They did. And I've had people ask why they come forward now. They just want the 5 minutes of fame. If that ain't the case, this last witness that come forward, we actually had to track her down, because I was curious to know what they seen. And I did a little news thing with Fox 10, and her daughter had made a comment under there that her mother had seen the craft and all that night. And it has haunted her all these years, and she's often wondered what happened to us. And that's all it was. It wasn't this lady coming forward. We took that comment, and we actually did detective work and found the lady that come forward, Maria Blair. And I got to meet her for the first time the other day. And she's got a great story there. I mean, she'll tell you straight up that she's seen that. Her and her husband did. And he wouldn't let her come forward because he told her she'd be called crazy. And, you know, I understand.